Go ahead.
Yeah, just talk about how you know Calvin and how long and what you know him better than a lot of people. So I think a lot of
Yeah.
people they just want to get to know Calvin, because we never really had a
Yeah.
chance to see him in the stadium. It's just all been on TV, but still, he's an incredibly special player who has been on national TV and Sports Center top 10 multiple times. I mean, he's going to be a guy that leaves Hawaii with quite the legacy. So, we can just start at the beginning though, because Calvin is just a kid, right? And we wanna make sure that he gets a chance to be himself too. And who is Calvin off the field as well? But no one better than Alexis here, who's joining us. Aloha, Alexis, and welcome to the show.
Hi. Well, I met Calvin at our orientation for college, like for JU. Like we were freshmen going in, and I had went to the same session that he did. A lot of because I was on the dance team at the time, and he was playing football, so a lot of like my teammates and his teammates all ended up going to the same orientation. But yeah, I met him there along with everyone else, and we started school. Fall happened, and we became really good friends. Like he would always come to my dorm, I'd go to
Mm.
his, and we would just like talk. Like it was just very easy to talk to him. And one time I actually forgot my essay in my dorm for one of the classes, and for some reason, like I had sorority sisters, I had my roommate, I had so many friends, and for some reason I called him.
Wow.
And he actually like left practice, went to the dorm, grabbed my essay, found me, gave me my essay and everything. Like it was just like so crazy because I'm like, why would I call Calvin? Like I don't know, but for some reason I knew that he would help me. So and that's just how he is. Like he always helps his teammates, always helps his friends, like with everything. We're kind of like the same as in like a lot of our friends come to us for like advice on things. We're like always giving our advice to our friends and stuff like that. But we started actually like talking and dating our spring semester of freshman year. So it kind of happened fast, honestly. And it took
Wow.
one semester for us to be like, okay, like let's just do this. And at the time though, like I didn't even really know much about like him in football. He played defense his first season
Oh,
at
okay.
JU.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Now, a lot
Yeah,
of people that know that first play defense.
he
Okay.
was he was recruited to play quarterback,
Okay.
but the quarterback at the time at JU was like a senior. Like he was really good, but the coaches like still wanted Calvin to be on the field somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
And that was at like corner. I'm pretty sure he played like on defense, and so he did one season there, and then that quarterback left. And then the coaches were like, "How do you feel about like playing quarterback again?" He was like, "Anything to get off defense, I will do." Like he's like, "I will play quarterback again. I don't want to play on defense anymore." But he did fairly good at it. It's just that's not where he's most
Yeah.
comfortable at. So he started, playing quarterback that spring semester, and at the time, like he was like an engineering major and
Wow.
everything. Like yeah, like he was like super into stuff like that.
Wow.
And yeah, I really didn't even know much about like his whole like football journey and stuff. So that's where we started to like learn more about each other. And it's crazy, like how you said, like all these years, like to where he's
Mm-hmm.
at now, because I can remember like us, like as freshmen, like watching the combine together, watching the draft, like stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
just like in our dorm room, and not even thinking like anything of it,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
JU.
Wow.
But yeah,
Well,
so
talk about. Well, first of all, explain what JU is. Tell everybody where it's at. Because for some people they might not know too much about Jacksonville, and we're talking about Jacksonville, Florida, obviously in northern Florida, not Miami, far from Miami.
yeah,
Some
yeah,
people who
definitely
don't know
not.
Florida geography, it's kind of at the top, Jacksonville, right? Northern Florida,
Mm-hmm.
northeast Florida, and there's a lot of football tradition there as well, and so it's amazing that we had someone like Calvin come from Jacksonville, but talk about where Calvin comes from, where he was born and raised, and how he got to Jacksonville as well. What took him specifically Jacksonville University, which unfortunately doesn't have its program anymore, and we'll talk about that. And that's how Calvin came to us.
Yeah, so he's from Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, he lived with his mom and his dad and his 2 brothers. They're both younger, so he's the oldest. The youngest one is now a sophomore in high school. He doesn't play any sports, but like he's about his money. Like he likes to work and like be all about like he's that one that we already know he's gonna be fine no matter what. And then the middle one, Ramon, he also plays football, but I'm pretty sure he's a D end. He just graduated from high school. He's at like a prep school right now, but yeah, I've seen so many videos, and his mom has told me so many stories about like Calvin when he was younger, and he was just like a ball of energy, always wanted to play sports. Like she was like a football was always in his hand, or a basketball, like anything. Like he always played multiple sports, like since he was 5 all the way till a senior in high school, and then even he loves to ask teammates to play basketball, just like with them whenever they have the time off. So I mean,
so he still has that energy.
Oh yeah, still always on go all the time. But in high school, he played basketball, he played football, he played some baseball. He also was on the track team. Like he did all that stuff. But ultimately, basketball and football were like his major things. And he actually wanted to be a basketball player. Like that's where he really wanted to go with this. And
really?
And then he just started really excelling at quarterback for football. And coming out of high school, he didn't really have any offers. A lot of schools like looked right over him. Like he always says that, like he's always like looked over. So he always has something to prove. That's kind of how he is, And his older cousin, Irv, who he also is from Savannah, that they grew up together, was already playing football at Jacksonville University.
Oh, okay.
JU. So he was already there playing his freshman year. And Irv had reached out to the coaches and was like, look, this is my cousin Calvin. He doesn't really have any offers. He's really good. We can really use him and stuff. And the coaches looked at his film and stuff like that. And he came on a visit and he liked it. And he decided, like, this is where I'm going to go. But JU's a non-scholarship program.
Wow.
So he got all of his scholarship, like, from academics, and then he ultimately had to still pay out of pocket.
Wow.
JU was expensive. I had scholarship for dance and academics, and I still had to pay out of pocket for tuition, So, but, JU was the only school that really wanted him, and he still wanted to play football, and he felt like it was a good match, so he went.
Well, this journey has been pretty incredible, and it has taken even you 5,000 miles away from home, and you're from that area as well, right? Jacksonville area?
Yeah, I'm from like Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay, that's right. You're from Fort Lauderdale. We talked about this. Fort Lauderdale. So you, probably never imagined that you'd end up in Hawaii, right? How crazy is that? Just talk about that process. Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, he did 3 seasons at JU. I'm thinking we're going to do one more, and then we'll see what happens after that. They shut the program down, and then we had literally 2 weeks to find his next school. And I was like, okay. The day that JU decided to cancel the program, it was like all these schools calling. Like, so he would even have to step out of class sometimes to talk to coaches. Like, I had a notebook, and I would write down every single school, what division they were, where they were located, if they had his major. Like, I feel like I was an agent. But
you sounded like one. I hope you got some commission off of that.
Yeah. So I was doing all of that, and then ultimately, he got a call from Coach Rolo, because that's who was the coach at the time. That's who recruited him. And he was actually with one of his older teammates in the car, and they looked at each other like, oh my gosh, like, is this University of Hawaii calling? Like, it was definitely one of the bigger schools to reach out, because most of the schools were either D2 or still in the FCS, division. So once he decided on Hawaii, I was like, well, I still have to get my degree. So I'm going to stay here for another 1.5 years, get my degree, and then we'll see what happens after that. Because at this point, there's no COVID yet. So I'm still thinking it's just going to be one season.
Yeah. So what point is this? What day is time frame are we talking about when they tell you that the program is canceled and you have to find another school? Like what time is this of?
This is right after Thanksgiving,
Okay.
heading into winter break. So he wanted to be at a school.
And that was junior year, and
yes,
that was 2019.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So this is before COVID was a thing. And so I'm still thinking like, okay, he's just going to play one season and then whatever. We'll just do long distance for the rest of the year or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I actually came to visit Hawaii for the first time in 2020, but still pre-pandemic. I came the week that the pandemic actually started.
Oh my goodness.
So I was in Hawaii when I got a call from my school saying, no one's coming back on campus. And I was like, okay, I guess. Like, it was
wow.
It was weird. And, you know, I was on spring break, but out here, Hawaii, UH wasn't on spring break yet. So Calvin was still kind of like in school and then would like come hang out with me and then have to do like football stuff and then go to the beach. So it was still just for me to see like where he was living and all that stuff. So.
Wow. Well, Jacksonville is, you know, obviously a coastal place. So there's some beachy vibes, I guess, that you can pick up on quickly when you come to Hawaii. We got some comments. Bradley Duval, because our friend Brad, his last name is Duval, so he's giving the Duval chat.
Yes.
You know, that's one thing about like Jacksonville and the Jags, and you know, regardless, that has been something that's been branded nationally pretty well. I thought the Duval thing, and is that a thing that people do in Duval to each other? You have to tell us the truth.
Oh yeah, I've been to a Jags game. We could be like, you know, they have like beach bars. You could be in Walmart. You could be anywhere. Someone's gonna shout that out, and people are gonna do it back to them.
All right, guys, you heard it here. It's the true thing from a true Jacksonvillian here. Jackson. Okay, that's funny. Brad also says he lived in Hinesville, Georgia, just an hour south of Savannah. He remembers loving going to Tybee Island. So we got some island vibes down there, and the Georgia.
Yeah, we've actually, when I visited Savannah for the first time, because it's very close to like South Carolina and stuff like that. We actually went to that beach, like the Tybee.
Cool.
Like that beach. Cool. That's one of the first places he took me. So yeah, it's cool.
See? So Brad knows, he's in the know. Sean says he wants to know where well, first of all, he says, thank you for keeping Calvin here for a Hana Ho season. Hana Ho means, like one more time, do it again. So we say Hana Ho, like when someone sings and sing again, Hana Ho. So it's for the Hana Ho season, and it is a Hana Ho because, you know, we didn't know Calvin was going to get an extra year. He graduated in 2017 from high school, and, you know, so he got this extra year, and now he's here. But since you now are kind of a local, or you're earning your local stripes, talk about where your favorite place. And you live in town. I know you said you live in town, so you're surrounded by some good local places. What are some of your favorite places to grind, you say?
Well, I will say for sure, me and Calvin have been to Sweet E's way too many times to count.
Okay, yeah. This is Sweet E's. Which street is that one at?
It's like, people ask me these questions. I don't know.
Okay.
Streets that much yet. People still ask me where I live, and I'm like, I live somewhere around here.
Yeah. Well, Sweeties, shout out to Sweeties. What's some of the local dishes that you've started to enjoy that you've been in Hawaii?
So, Chev's family actually took us to, is it called like Helena's or Helen's?
Yes, Helena's,
like
yes.
Yes.
Hawaiian food?
And me and Calvin were looking at the menu and we're like, we don't know what any of this is.
And that is pretty native Hawaiian. So of course, shout out to Chev's. I love Chev's family. His parents are just awesome. And of course they would take you there. That's such a Hawaiian. That's like a Hawaiian local place too. So I like it.
Yeah, we were sitting there on the menu. We're like, hey, what's that? What's that? What's that?
They're like, why is there a raw onion on my tray that they brought back to me?
Yeah. Ultimately, we just both ordered this tray that had like one of everything, and we just tried everything.
Poi, everything.
We tried poi. Yeah, it was. Calvin was like, he's kind of a picky eater, so he was like smelling everything. And Chev's mom, Auntie Kelly, she was like, "Stop smelling it, and just try it." So that's been definitely a fun thing that we've been doing out here. It's like, trying stuff like that. And
so Chef's family, what are some of the have you guys been able to get to know some of the other families or parents? I know it being so far away from home and not having too many people around. Who has been kind of that support system around you guys in Hawaii as well?
Definitely, Chef's family has been kind of like, they took me in because, especially, I came out here thinking I'm going to be able to go to all the home games, and then there's no fans, and I was like, no fans, like moved all the way over here to be able to watch him play, and no fans.
No.
And we don't have cable, like we just have like Wi-Fi, and they were, every home game, every away game, I go to, his name's Uncle Troy, and it's one of Chev's families, like family friends, like they grew up all around each other, and so we would, every weekend, me and Cortez Davis, his girlfriend Nadia.
That's right, yeah.
Me and her, we ride together, we go to their house, they have food, they have, they're always so fun, such a good time. And they've been a really good, like you said, like someone to take me in, like a home away from home type of thing. They're definitely super cool. They're always like, come over. Like they always definitely willing to take us in whatever. Like even for Thanksgiving, the team actually leaves on the day of Thanksgiving for the Wyoming game. And I was like,
that's right.
Okay,
that's right.
Someone needs to adopt me for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And they're like, we'll adopt you. Come to our house. So definitely, sometimes I'm like, I have no one out here, but then I have them. So.
Well, and in Hawaii, you definitely are family, and you are Ohana, and definitely Calvin's just his career and his numbers have been impressive, but also just the other side, his off the field side. He's not somebody who makes a lot of headlines, or he just kind of, like you said, he's an engineering guy. Who would have known that he was doing engineering? Who would have known that he is getting academic scholarships? I mean, so impressive, and it's amazing to hear more and more about him. I think a lot of people would love to know, like you said, he's a picky eater, but food in Hawaii is like so important, right? And what we do in Hawaii, right? Just like when people move to the South, right? They're like, oh, have you had like chitlins? Like, whatever. If you haven't, people are like, oh, like you are not a true Southern, so it kind of similar in Hawaii. We're like, what do you like eating? Like, do you like musubis? Do you like manapua? Like stuff that makes us, like, we in Hawaii love eating shaved ice, it's like, what are any kind of local things that he's picked up on at least?
Yeah, I mean, let me think. For me personally, I just tried a musubi for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and I've been here for months, and that was the first time I tried it. But I mean, like you said, like the shaved ice, and just, I feel like every week we go to a new place to eat. Chef's always recommending places to go and eat, and we just try everything because we're like, hey, we're only going to be here for however much longer, and then we gotta go. So,
well, that shout out to the Cordero Ohana for being so willing to take in Calvin and Alexis and showing them the ropes, because in Hawaii that's really important. First of all, getting to be like us, or getting to know us. And Hawaii is a very open place, obviously, and we want people to embrace our culture because we want to embrace them back. And I think it's been tough because Calvin hasn't had a home crowd to play in front of, didn't get a chance to play in our stadium. And I think he's, I don't want to say missed out, but I think even the fans have missed out on seeing quite the, the performance. I got to see him, in New Mexico, at the New Mexico Bowl, or in Fresno last year, his first game, and I was like, okay, who is this guy? We're gonna be talking about this guy for sure. Bradley says it's on Kapuhulu, so Sweet E's on Kapuhulu. That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
My boy digging up seat. Oh yeah. So Sean, we're gonna talk about these stats because we talked about 1,000 yards, and this is something that you had shared with me as well, and it was like, just like throwing it out there, like that's so crazy. I mean, that's such an eye-popping thing to think that. And we're still verifying, but I mean, I went through Sports Reference, and I
Yeah.
can't find anything else, but the potential that Calvin Turner has 1,000 yards or could finish his career with over 1,000 yards of passing, receiving, rushing, and returning on special teams, which is would be pretty incredible considering just how many positions you basically have to play to even
Yeah.
accomplish those numbers. But he has been like a workforce and a do-it-all, and like you said, it's kind of gone so fast because you remember what it was like to be freshman, but now looking back, just talk about how he was able to accomplish that and what it was ultimately for him that makes those stats and those numbers so eye popping.
Well, something about Calvin is like if he's not playing football, he's watching football, and if
Mm.
he's not watching football, he's reading about football. Like it has truly consumed both of our lives, which I'm fine with it. I love football. I grew up watching football with my dad and stuff, but he's so into football and everything about it that it's like he's such a hard worker too that these stats is just an accumulation of just all the hard work and talent that he just has, coming from JU, doing 3 seasons there, and then maybe just having one more season that he could have did at Hawaii. Like he was like, okay, I have something to prove here. Like
Mm-hmm.
his dream has always been to go to the NFL and to play professional football. So for him, if you ask him, he's not going into every game like I need to have this many yards and this many touches
Mm-hmm.
and this many. Like he's just playing football. He just loves playing football, and he always has a good time out there. So to look back and see that his love for football, ultimately is leading to him now like
Mm-hmm.
might make history is like
Yeah.
it's crazy, but it just goes to show that how important it is to him not only to do it for himself but to do it for the team. And
Mm-hmm.
he cares about the team so much, and so that's why like when he's out there playing, like he's always like I'm doing it for my brothers, for
Mm-hmm.
me, for all that. So yeah, to see it was crazy. It was, when I texted you about it, I was like, can you like fact check this week? Because he randomly was like, okay, so I don't know if this is for real, but I might be the only player. And I'm like, okay, let's do some research before you start
Yeah,
claiming
I know.
this
I was like,
title.
okay, well, we need to go in because this is insane, and like going through things,
Yeah,
asking even other journalists to see like
yeah.
where the reference is. It is pretty insane, but for him, I mean, it's almost like not surprising. We haven't even seen too much of him playing, but it's like we already have a whole series of highlights from Calvin
Mm-hmm.
Turner that most of us can go back and replay in our mind. Obviously, like his cutbacks, he had one at home, one in New Mexico State, and those are the ones that made the Sports Center top 10. But the New Mexico Bulls showing up, and it seems like you said at Jacksonville, to think about the NFL, maybe that's not a thing that Jacksonville kids were thinking about when they were playing football there. But when for Calvin did it become you think a true reality for him to play in the NFL?
Yeah, like you said, playing at JU is definitely not, the NFL wasn't something that, a lot of the teammates would strive for it. They would talk about it, but it was almost like a very far fetched idea just
Mm-hmm.
because the school was so unknown. It was not a scholarship, it was FCS. Um, but we do know actually 2 players from JU that were able to go and have a shot in the league.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, Justin Horton, he was like good friends with us, and then Andy Jones, he also was able to bounce around from a few teams and stuff, and so he was still like, okay, it can happen. If it happened for them, it can happen for me. And
Mm-hmm.
he never had intentions of leaving JU.
Mm-hmm.
People would say, when are you going to transfer? Like, when are you going to go to a bigger school? And he was like, no, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to finish it out and do my 4 years. And when JU canceled the program and when he decided to go to Hawaii, I think that was where he was like, okay, this is my opportunity. Like, this is my way to really show what I can do on a bigger platform. So he was always very like excited about it too. Like leading up to him officially like getting out there and
Mm-hmm.
finally playing the first game, like he'd always talk about it. We'd always say, like, okay, like, this is God's plan for you. Like this is what we're gonna do. So I think once he officially came out here and started practicing with the team, he even said it, like the vibe was just so different. Like he was around true competitors, like true athletes that they all wanted it. It wasn't just he's the only one who wants it. It was like, okay, I'm surrounded and I have to actually compete now. I actually got to, go out there every day and fight for a spot. So seeing that and going through that, I feel like was, that time in his, like, in his life, in his head, that he's just like, you know what, like, this is real. Like, I actually can do this. And then with that COVID year and him deciding to come back, he was like, okay, now I'm really going to solidify that I'm like, I was born for this. I was made for this, to go to the NFL and play professional.
So, yeah, talk about that decision, because it caught a lot of people by surprise. Calvin had a great bowl game, New Mexico Bowl, played in Dallas, but he started the year strong from the Fresno game, taking snaps under center and showing off his versatility throughout the whole year, all 8 games leading up into the bowl. He had made a name for himself, but he had such a limited amount of time to do it, and he still did it. He always took advantage of his opportunities, particularly in the bowl game, because it was on national TV, and it was the only game on Christmas Eve. And you and I both spent our Christmas Eve there in Dallas.
Yeah.
And shout out to Afusha, of course. We all shout her out in this show, but she always gets shouted out. But we had a great time, and it was amazing to see us hoist that trophy at the end, that really cool looking trophy that they gave. And I thought, wow, I can't believe we're back here winning another bowl game again 2 years in a row, especially with how crazy it was. But the only thing I was like, dang, Calvin had such a good game that for sure he's going to leave now. And it was on TV. But just talk about what went into that decision as well.
Yeah, once we were getting down to that final bowl game, the decision was definitely weighing heavy on him and, his family. And we were just kind of like, what are you going to do? And he went back and forth so many times. And I was like, okay, let's just sit down for a second and really, think of the pros and the cons. And of course, he talked to, like, agents will try to reach out and say, oh, are you going to enter the draft or are you going to stay? And he would never know what answer to give them. And after hearing, like, about, like, what some scouts said, and after just kind of, like, going through, like, what he was projected to go as, at the end of the day, he was like, you know what, like, I want to finish, like, what I started. And that's when he put out that video, like, I'll be back. Because, like, they all, like, call him, like, the Terminator and stuff like that. So it was funny because actually at that bowl game, for the first time I had met Fuchsia, like, in person. And I asked to borrow her Hawaii flag to take a picture with it. And she was like, I'll let you borrow it if you tell me if Calvin's coming back next year.
Of course she did. And
I was like, I honestly, and this is my honest answer, I don't know. I was like, I truly don't know. But, it didn't take too long to come up with this decision. It was just like a daily thing that he would think about. And we talked to our pastor back at home, and he was just like, you know what, like, a door might close, a door's going to close, and that's going to tell you if, like, that's what you should do or not.
Yes.
And Calvin was like, if I get invited to the combine, I'm going to go and I'm going to enter the draft. But if I don't get invited to the combine, I'm going to stay another year.
Okay.
And the next day, the combine got canceled.
Oh, that's right. And
they said they weren't really going to have one. And so he was like, okay, well, that tells you right there. I need to come back. I need to prove myself more. And I want to be invited to the combine. Like, that's what I want to do. That's my goal. And then we announced it. And then I was like, I'm moving to Hawaii. And, like, all my friends and family were like, we're going to visit you and all this stuff. So it was definitely cool to also see all the fans, like, come back, like, telling him to come back, and just to see, like, how much they truly did care about him and care about, like, his future. And it was really cool to see that. Definitely grateful, because I would be reading comments on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I was like, all right, you gotta stay, you gotta give one more season.
Well, Fuchsia is checking in, and she says, yes, I am that fan that was in Dallas, saying, hi, Alexis, nice to meet you. So is Calvin coming back? And then when he made the announcement, I yelled the news throughout our house. Yep, that sounds like her. I know we were all very happy and very surprised too, because he is such a gem, and it's really amazing that he fell into our lap, really, and that he was able to make such an impact in such a short time. I'm not saying it's over. We still got at least 4 games left. But we do have some more questions. Some want to know, what are you and Calvin's favorite NFL teams?
Okay, so his favorite NFL team is the Saints.
Oh,
And
okay.
mine is the Giants.
Really? Oh, you have to tell us about that. Both of those. Why? Tell us.
Well, I'm originally from New York. So I grew up a Giants fan, Yankees fan, New York Knicks.
Yes.
If it's a New York team, it's my team.
I love it. Okay.
For Calvin, he really loves Reggie Bush. Like, he looks up to Reggie Bush. Like, that's one of his favorite players. He watches his highlights before every game. Like, big Reggie Bush fan. So he likes the Saints.
Wow.
But we always joke around, like, okay, like, I'm going to have to become a fan of whatever team we go to.
Yes.
I'm going to have to just...
I can't wait. I can't wait to see which one. I mean, Brad, who asked that question, also said I think we were talking about him looking good in a Rams uniform. I'm just saying, because he just looks good running around on the field, and he looks flashy. So whatever uniform he's in, I'm excited. I'm hoping it's one of my teams, but at the same time, it's really, incredible that, you're a fan, you're a player, you're just like a kid like everyone else, but one day you can get on that field and play with kids or people that you watched on TV. Or be much younger, because when you say Reggie Bush, so Reggie Bush played in 2005, 6, 7. You guys were really young too, so it's kind of funny to think about, Reggie Bush being the saint that he's referenced. Because when I think of Reggie Bush in a Saints uniform, I think about him getting just absolutely trucked that one play on the field. But I'm sure Calvin knows which one, and we haven't seen Calvin take two. I mean, Calvin has been a durable guy, so he's had to get up and he's had to brush a few things off, even like that one special teams play we witnessed together at our last home game. But yeah, talk about that, his durability and his ability to, has he ever been really hurt for extended periods of time, just given how much he gets hit every game?
Yeah, I always say he's a robot, because it's like, even when he has a headache or if he's sick or like, he just like won't take medicine. Like, he just like, he sticks it out. So I'm always like, are you a real human? Because like, me on the other hand, I'm like, give me the meds. Like, I'll take it all. Like, so he's always like, after a game, I'll be like, how do you feel? He's like, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, that's good.
Wow. No, it's amazing. He gets back up and he gets thrown in on special teams and he's there on offense. And I don't know if the coaches know that he was played defense before. You better not tell him, because they'll probably try and stick him there as well. But he's such a phenomenal athlete that just really can't wait to see what any NFL team that decides to take him would be amazing. Any favorite UH games or moments since you've been with our program and Calvin's been there that are memorable to you so far?
Definitely the bowl game, because that was the first time I was ever able to see him in person play for UH, because I always would just watch him in person at JU, and the games are fun, but definitely way more fun being at a bowl game and all that. And he would definitely say the same, that bowl game was one of the best moments for him, because that's the first time he's got like a ring like that from college, because JU didn't really go that far any season. So, being able to get a ring and all that stuff was definitely a really cool experience for him and for me too. Like, it was just cool to see that player of the game. And, I had friends from high school texting me like, oh, we're watching the game, like, go Calvin. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Like, people I haven't heard from in years, like, telling me that they're watching Calvin on TV. And and then the first home game here, because I was waiting patiently for it.
Yep. Well, I'm glad you definitely get your game face on. That's something about Alexis. If you see her at the games, we're talking to Alexis, Calvin's very, very special friend, the most specialist friend in the world, so who's known her or who's been together since spring of 2018. So yes, Calvin is very young as well. He literally graduated from high school in 2017, which is also crazy to think about. But he is surely NFL bound in most of our opinions. But there's still much time to go, and we want to just help him and see him flourish as he ends his career at UH. But something that has been really amazing. Like we said, I talked about earlier, was him being on SportsCenter top 10 because that's such a cultural. It's like ESPN. It's like the Zit guys. It's like what every sport fan references to, like the best players and the best things that happen in sports are going to be on SportsCenter top 10. And literally, Calvin has been on it twice within like a span of months.
Yeah.
I mean, like, talk about the first time. Just the first time when he was like, "Holy cow, I'm on SportsCenter top 10." What was that like?
Yeah, so the first time we didn't even know. My mom, I woke up because the time difference.
That's
we
right.
always wake up,
Yeah.
and we have all these notifications because where we're from, everybody's been up for 6 hours now.
Yep.
And we're still, So I woke up and my mom texted me and she was like, "Calvin, we just saw him on TV on SportsCenter," and I'm like, "For what? Send me a video. Like, what's going on?" And my mom like recorded it at the house and she sent it to me. And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So I went on YouTube and I found it myself and I sent it to Calvin. And I'm like, "Did you know you're on SportsCenter top 10?" And he was like, "What?" And then it was just a surreal moment because like he even said, like he posted about it that like that's like one of his childhood. You dream of being on SportsCenter top 10. And so when it happened that first time, like his mom's texting me and we're all just like, "Oh my gosh, this is so crazy!" Like it's nice to see like all your hard work finally be noticed because he's always been that player.
Yeah.
But no one knew.
Yeah.
Until we got here.
Yes. That's beautiful. I love that. No one knew until we got here. So how many people are just training? How many people are just waiting for their moments? And Calvin got his, and he's going to have many more. But we're just so lucky that he is here at UH and he chose to come here. But looking forward, as we know, his time will be short. His time will be up soon, and he will be leaving us and hopefully, going to greener NFL pastures. But as we know, the journey is going to be rough there. He has to train. He has to get an agent. And are there any apprehensions on his mind going into the rest of the season? Or is he just kind of like, when the season's over, I'm going to think about it? Or let's talk about what kind of storm is around him as he gets closer to ending his time in college.
Yeah. Thankfully for him, he has the mentality of like, he doesn't really let a lot of things like bother him. Mm-hmm. He's very a cool, calm, and collected person. Like I told you in the beginning, what I lack, he makes up for it, and vice versa, because I'm the one that's like always all over the place. Like, "Oh, what about this? What about this?" He's just always like, "It's okay. Everything's gonna be fine." Like he's always like very chill about everything. Like he knows it's an important decision, but he believes that he'll know who to choose. He'll know where to train. He'll know where to do all that stuff. Yeah. So at the beginning of the season, we talked about it and like when he'd want to make a decision by and stuff like that. But we let it go and we just let the season carry on. But now that we're at the last month, basically of like the last 4 games that we could have, now we're kind of like, okay, like the decision is coming up. Like we do have to, choose the agent. We do have to choose where you're going to train and stuff like that. But it's been a really good experience. Like it's been easy. People contact him on Instagram or Twitter or reach out, and he's had a couple Zoom calls, a couple FaceTimes. He exchanged texts, here and there. It hasn't been anything where he's like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?" Like, he's very confident in like what he'll decide and stuff. And so as much as, the timeline might seem like, "Oh gosh, like we have to figure this out and then we have to do this, then we have to go back to the mainland, then we have to train." And as much stuff is going to go on, he's very like, everything's going to be fine. Like it's all going to work out. Like he definitely handles everything with that attitude, which I think is a good thing because you can't really get overworked, especially in the football industry when things are constantly changing and constantly moving around. He handles everything with grace. I will say that. So that whole process he's not worried about it.
Okay, good. Well, we're not going to worry about it either. We just want to see him continue to be successful, continue to put up those eye-popping stats, yes, but he does so with a lot of dignity and a lot of grace. Like you said, he's not someone that has ever really been showy. I mean, for all the moves that he did, for all the zigzagging he's done, I've yet to see him do a dance or something crazy. Why is that?
Like,
Why is that?
He doesn't celebrate, and I'm like, that's just not him. I don't know, like how to describe it. Like
Mm-hmm.
he is like so beyond humble that it's like he scores and he's like, okay, like what's next? Like what are we gonna do next? Like how are we gonna win? Like he's not
Mm-hmm.
so worried about the celebration dance. He's worried about like, okay, like all right, now what are we gonna do on defense? Like what are we gonna do? Like he's very such a football brain that he's always just like he'll score and then he's like, okay, like, okay, are we winning? What do we got to do to win? Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
just how he is. So, yeah, it's nice to see his teammates like come up and they like jump up and stuff like that. But that's really all you're really gonna see out of him.
Well, he's so fun to watch. We can't wait. We have a game this Saturday at home. Tickets will go on sale to the public tomorrow, and if you are, listening to this and you don't have tickets, make sure tomorrow morning you get on there and etickethawaii.com or at the hawaiiathletics.com and get your tickets. But this stadium has potential to really rock, and we made some noise, I thought, last week. So just talk about Ching Field and what you're hoping, and talk about the vibe from the students. I know you got to know a bunch of students, and what are
Yeah.
kids talking about when it comes to the home games?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like it could be a small little field or it could be a stadium. I'm gonna be on 10 the whole time. Like I love it. So I mean, for me, I like the vibe of it. I know Calvin has talked about how he feels like
Mm-hmm.
like this should be the stadium. Like this
Mm-hmm.
should be like they should just work
Mm-hmm.
with what they have and expand it and really make it something on campus because I feel like anyone that I've talked to that is a student at UH, like they've said how they kind of struggled to make that trip all the way to Aloha Stadium and how much easier it would be if it was just on campus. I feel like just like many other stadiums, they're either on campus or they're like right next to campus.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it would definitely help that community and get more fans in and kind of bring because I've seen videos of what Aloha Stadium was like
Mm-hmm.
with games, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so many people, and I feel like that type of culture could definitely come back and
Mm-hmm.
be made, even if it's at like a smaller capacity. Like it's still, I feel like it would make a big difference. Allowing, I'm excited to see the stadium at full capacity this weekend. Because it was only 1,000 people last time,
Mm-hmm.
and this time I'm like, oh, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be real and it's gonna be fun. I guarantee that as well. That's gonna be at 6 o'clock. Sorry, I'm like zoning. I'm pretty sure it's at 6 on Saturday. In any case, I'm gonna be there.
It's at 5.
Oh, 5 o'clock. Okay, 5.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Don't listen to me. I sometimes check on the day of the game, which is terrible. But I noticed that it's also going to be a San Diego State team that we have some history with recently, and Calvin could have potential to make more noise, and I think our team is one of those teams that is kind of been up and down. Like we've had such a weird schedule that it's kind of hard to tell what kind of team we are. But what are some of the things that Calvin's talking about when it comes to maybe as the offense and the whole team as they approach this game on Saturday?
Yeah, in general, he always talks very highly about his teammates, how much talent there is, and that he's just ready for them to have that complete game that they really haven't been able to have, put all those pieces together. He's always watching film, always studying, always, looking at what he could improve on, what he can do better at. So, I mean, in general, he's very excited. He likes when he gets to play like ranked teams and bigger teams. And he even said, he was like, all right, we'll beat Fresno so we can beat them too.
That's right.
He's always up for that challenge. So he's definitely very excited. And, just every day at practice, he's like, we just got to keep getting better. And he's really looking forward to it. And he believes in the team more than anyone that I know. He, since the first game, he was like, we're going to go to the Mountain West Championship. He always believes in himself and his teammates. So.
Well, we just appreciate Calvin. We appreciate him on the field, but we also appreciate him off. I mean, he's represented us very well, and that's really important to people in Hawaii, right? To have people that not only embrace us, but represent us as local people, which are to be humble and hardworking and very dedicated to, friends and family and spreading good vibes. Obviously, that's what we do in Hawaii. But Calvin has brought that so much more, and so have you, Alexis. And it's been awesome getting to know you and getting to cheer side by side with you. And you're hard to compete with when it comes to cheering. Also, by the way, if anybody wants to know, if you want to go head to head with Alexis, her and Kaylee are probably in similar company when it comes to making an actual impact as one human being, one voice. And what's crazy too is that he hears your voice so well. I have to bring that up. Like, I was like, whoa! Like, he'd be running out the field. People are like, Calvin, oh my gosh! And you're like, Calvin. He's like, looks directly at you. I was like, okay, that's the crazy thing though, because he points you out so easily.
Yeah, I don't know. It's at JU we didn't really get to do that because I would have to be dancing while he was playing because I was on the dance team. So I don't know what it is. I guess he just heard my voice for so long, and like I feel like it'd be the same thing if it was like his mom too. Like he would know it's us. Like he would for sure like look. So that's funny. Like people will be like cheering for him, and it was funny at that last game. A few of the teammates, like Jared and them, they're like all these people were screaming, and what did we hear? I love you, number 7. They just knew it was me.
It's like it's only Alexis and Calvin that exists in the world when he scores touchdowns. It's really amazing to see, and it's a true pleasure for me too, seeing just how much joy you folks have and how young the two of you are and already making an impact and doing it together and supporting each other from so far, all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, Savannah, Georgia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida to Honolulu, Hawaii. It's quite the journey, and we're excited to see where it goes. But thank you so much, Alexis, for joining me on this program, and I can't wait to see the next Calvin highlight, and I'm sure you'll be there screaming on the sideline too.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, and I wanted to take this time to thank all the fans because since the day he got here, the day I got here, it's been love, so much love. So it makes a difference because it was kind of hard at first to be out here.
Yes.
Because I was like, I have no family, but quickly that changed once I saw the way people are out here. So,
well, we love having you too. We love just like I said, seeing how he represents us is amazing, and we're excited to see because it's just the beginning. He's going to be Hawaii's Calvin Turner. Savannah's going to claim him, of course, and Jacksonville's going to claim him, of course. But Hawaii is going to claim him forever. I guarantee you, until the end of his career, he'll always be the Hawaii. So we're excited. But thank you, Alexis, and mahalo for sharing with us. And we'll see everybody again on our program next time. Aloha.
Yes.